Hello and welcome back to Out of Spec Motoring. Do you remember the I-90 Surge? Well, our friend Shane was on Team Lucid during the I-90 Surge, and he is now about to take you on a Lucid road trip of his own. He has a touring trim with the 20-inch Aero range wheels. This is a spec we have not yet tested on this channel. So he is going to take you on a road trip in the Wild West of charging infrastructure from Salt Lake City down to Arizona, attending a Lucid event down there. It's a full round trip excursion, complete with charging challenges, bottlenecks from the holidays, and he kind of discovers some challenges with his Lucid that may be pointing to a faulty battery. There's a lot more to unfold and unpack with his battery issues story, especially since Lucid is about to get a hold of his car and do some testing. But even then, enjoy this road trip that he also enjoys, even with the issues, despite all of his challenges. So, Shane, take it away.
Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Motoring video. My name's Shane and you join me in my garage with my 2023 Lucid Air Touring, and I'm about to go on yet another road trip. So I know we've seen plenty of road trips with a Grande Touring on the 19-inch range wheels, but I don't think we've ever seen a road trip with a Touring on the 20-inch wheels. So this might be a little bit different, a little bit interesting. So I'm headed down from Salt Lake City, Utah, down to Casa Grande, Arizona, which is the site of the Lucid AMP1 factory. So I'm just finishing up charging here, gonna get the car loaded up, and we will hit the road. All right, so we just finished charging up to 100% state of charge, so just doing our final preparations here. So again, we're going from Salt Lake City, Utah, down to Casa Grande, Arizona. So let's see what the Lucid thinks that's gonna look like. So it wants us to go to Scipio, charge at 45%. Doesn't make much sense to me. Then get down to Beaver, Utah, Mesquite, Henderson, Kingman. Then looks like Goodyear, Arizona, just outside of Phoenix, and then finally to Casa Grande. So according to the car, looks like it's going to be 772 miles, about 13 and a half hours. I think I can probably cut down on that a little bit using the out-of-spec style, so going faster, arriving at lower states of charge, and just charging enough to get to the next decent charger. So let's finish getting ready, getting packed up, and we will hit the road. And so before we hit the road, one thing that's going to be important to note with this particular trip, so this is a 2023 Touring on the Aero light wheels. So we've got 245 width tires up front and 265 width tires in the rear. So this is going to be a bit different from the 19-inch wheels, which are 245 all around, and I'm on winter tires for this trip. So and in addition to that, this will have a resistive heater and not the heat pump like the 2025s. So this one will be a little bit less efficient, so that's definitely going to play into it. Weather's going to be cold, so that's going to hurt us as well. So our efficiency, likely going at the speeds we're going to be going, are going to be like in the mid, maybe high 2 miles per kilowatt hour range, but not a big deal. I'm used to traveling this way. So we'll finish getting packed up and ready to go. All right, just made a quick pit stop for some bagels. So looks like we're going to have some rain on the way down. So we're finally out of the rain, just cruising down I-15 down towards Beaver, Utah. We've got about 97 miles left. We've traveled 99 miles. So our efficiency around 2.5. We did have some rain. It is pretty cold. So looks like we're still doing okay. It's targeting a 6% arrival. So far it's been fluctuating a little bit up to like maybe 10 to 12 and then even down to a 0% arrival. But looks like we're doing okay for now. So just gonna keep on cruising. So one thing I do want to note that's a little weird with the route planner. So you can see our route here on the navigation screen, and you can see there's this red section towards our destination. So that's where the car thinks it's going to hit 0%. But the thing is, that's not for our current route. You can see there's this route off to the right that's in a darker blue color. So the navigation system will show you alternate routes in certain situations. But the confusing thing is that when they overlap and there's a section where you're going to hit 0% with the alternate route, it can be kind of tricky to tell if you're actually going to make it, if you're not paying attention to like your state of charge arrival. So if you notice, if I select this alternate route, this will be a slightly brighter red color. If I switch back to the normal route, it's a little bit darker. I don't think you'd even see that on camera very well, but probably something they could improve a little bit, make it a little more clear. Alright, so preconditioning just started. We've got about 45 minutes left to Beaver, Utah. That's about when preconditioning starts. Doesn't always necessarily mean it needs the full 45 minutes to precondition, but that's just when the system will kick it on automatically. So we've got 57 miles left. We're targeting a 2% arrival, so I kicked up the speeds a little bit to 85, so I can always slow down a little bit if we need to, but 2% is totally fine. This car charges better when it's lower anyway, so 2% is great. So we'll keep on cruising. Alright, so here we are in Beaver, Utah. We made it with 2% state of charge remaining, so 2% more than we needed, totally fine. Our efficiency on that leg, so 2.39, so not great, but that's just how it is with this car. Speed really affects the range, and my particular configuration isn't the most efficient anyway, but we're totally fine, so we're gonna get plugged in. Alright, so we are plugged in and juicing. We're only getting around 160 kilowatts at 4% state of charge. I checked the API and battery temps are like in the 70 to 80 degree Fahrenheit range, so a little bit colder than I think it wants it to be, but you can see I have this message. It's trying to give me tips on how to improve my charging speed because it thinks I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, it's just how it goes with this car. Charging is very difficult to optimize, and temperature is going to play a huge role in that. So not the end of the world, so we'll probably charge up to about 50% or so. So we'll be here for like 25 minutes or half an hour. Alright, so we just crossed over 16 minutes of charging, and we've gone up to 43% from 2%. And we're already below 100 kilowatts. So charging isn't going great already, but I mean, from experience, I know this car just does not charge particularly well when it's very difficult to optimize. Not the end of the world. We're gonna get there just fine, but it is disappointing to see that already right off the bat, we're having kind of a less than ideal charging session. But as things As we go south and things warm up and our efficiency improves, things will be a little bit better. So we shouldn't be here too much longer anyway. So we're gonna go to Mesquite next. Looks like it wants us to get up to 53% state of charge to get there at 0. I'll probably go up to 60 just to give us a little bit of a buffer. And so we can maintain preconditioning, but shouldn't be here too much longer. Alright, so we just crossed over 30 minutes of charging, up 63%, and we are charging at 61 kilowatts, so not great, but we only need a couple more percent to make it to Mesquite. So we'll get unplugged out here in a minute, and hopefully we'll get some better charging later today. Alright, so we are unplugged. Let's get out of here. We got here just the right time, because there's a Lightning, there's a Mach-E, there's an Ioniq 5, and a Polestar 2 was looking for a spot just a minute ago. So we got here just the right time. So we're looking at about a 9% arrival, so should be plenty of buffer to make it there. So we'll just hop back on the highway and get to cruising. Alright, so here we are coming down in the St. George, Utah area. So we're about halfway from Beaver, Utah to Mesquite, Nevada. So we're looking at a 10% state of charge arrival. Our efficiency on this leg is just under 3 miles per kilowatt hour, so 2.96. So now that we're going down in elevation and things are warming up a bit, we're getting much better efficiency. So I bumped up the speeds to about 90 miles an hour since we're going to have a good buffer. So hopefully we'll have a better charging session down in Mesquite. And we're coming up on some beautiful highway. This stretch of I-15 is my favorite, and it's one of the coolest highways in the country. Alright, so here we are in Mesquite, Nevada. Unfortunately, we didn't time it super well, and we've got a full station. So we arrived at 9% state of charge. Our efficiency for that last leg, let's take a peek. So 3.11, so pretty good. So now that things are getting warmer, we're going down in elevation, things are looking better. So hopefully we won't be waiting for a spot too long here, but St. George was full as well, so we didn't really miss anything there. So let's hope we're not waiting too long. All right, so we only had to wait 8 minutes or so that's not too bad. So we're plugged in, ramping up. Are we gonna see over 200 at all? It wouldn't really surprise me if we didn't. 175-ish is where we peaked. Oh boy. Well, at least we got a spot, and we're juicing. So next stop's gonna be Las Vegas, probably. Let's take a peek and see what charging options we have. Whoops. Come on. So we just got to Mesquite. I was a little bit worried about things being busy today with people traveling home from Christmas. So I'd rather not stop in Vegas unless we have to, but we might have to. Because Kingman, Arizona, that's only 110 miles away. That's not too bad. I think we can do a deeper charge here and then make that. So I think I'll make that the plan. So let's see what the Lucid thinks we need to do to make it there. 78%? Wow. That doesn't sound right. That's crazy. Well, I'll do the math and I'll look at some chargers, but definitely don't want to charge that long, because past 50%, this car does not charge well at all. So, yeah, let's see what other options we have. Oh, and by the way, so again, it thinks I don't know what I'm doing, wants to give me some tips to learn how to improve my fast charging sessions. So consider using AC charging. Can't really do that on a road trip very easily. Precondition your battery for fast charging. I have for probably 50 to 55 minutes. And wait until your battery is low before charging. So we got here at, what, 8% or something? So I don't know what else the car wants me to do, but it really kind of annoys me when it says that. It's not particularly helpful. All right, so we've been charged for 15 minutes, up to 45%, and again, we're under 100 kilowatts, even before 50%. I swear this car charges worse every time I take it on a road trip. But anyway, so we would have to be here forever to go from here to Kingman, Arizona. It is up in elevation, so we're gonna have to stop in the Vegas area, which I do not like doing, but we don't really have a choice if we wanna get there in a reasonable time. So we're just gonna stop in Henderson, just on the southeast side of Vegas. I'm just gonna wait until I get about a 10% buffer, so we'll leave around 50% state of charge. So we'll leave in here pretty quick. Yeah, so that's the plan. All right, so 18 minutes of charging, that's not too bad. So we'll head off to Vegas and hopefully time things better than we did here in Mesquite, and we'll go from there. Vegas, so we're a little more than halfway there from Mesquite. So we've got 40 miles left. Looking at a 6% state of charge arrival, so that'll be just about perfect. Preconditioning is running, so probably when we get closer, we'll look and see if there's anything, any stations that look a little bit more empty, because I know Vegas is pretty much always busy, so we'll see if we can find something. But for now, the plan is to go to Henderson, and hopefully we won't have to wait for too long. Alright, so here we are in North Las Vegas instead of Henderson. The Henderson station was still full, so I'm pretty sure there was a line, so this seemed like the better option. So we arrived at 14% state of charge, so a little higher than I'd like, but not too bad. So our efficiency on that leg, 2.37, so not great. There might be a little bit of wind picking up, and we were going 90 miles per hour pretty much the whole way. So that's most likely the reason why. But we're up in 60 degrees Fahrenheit, finally. It feels wonderful. So we're gonna plug in here, and then next stop will be Kingman, Arizona. All right, so we are plugged in. Let's see what kind of speeds we're seeing. Yeah, it's probably gonna be, that's probably the peak again, 178. Yeah. So we may not see over 200 this trip, which is pretty dang sad, I would say. But I don't know, what are you gonna do about it? So we shouldn't have to charge here too long. Kingman is only like, I don't know, like 100 miles or so away. And oh, look, it's telling me I'm an idiot again. Big surprise. So I thought this was kind of funny. So all these people here at the Sam's Club, they've got to wait in line to fill up their stupid gas cars. But me over here, I got to pull in and plug in right away. So no waiting for me. All right, so we just hit 15 minutes, 49% state of charge. And oh, big surprise, we're down below 90 kilowatts now. So yeah, the poor charging continues. But we'll make it work. So next stop is Kingman, Arizona. So it is 117 miles away. We're gonna get up to, car wants us to get up 72%, but I'm fine arriving with like 5%. So we're gonna charge up to 60% and call it good. So should just be a few more minutes here. Maybe like a 20-minute charge. It's not too bad, but not as quick as I'd like. Alright, so 27 minutes to go from like 14% up to 65, so not the end of the world. So we'll hopefully get in Kingman with between 5 and 10% state of charge like we usually do, and I don't know, we'll keep praying for a good charging session for a change. So we're having some issues with our cameras now. So camera error, surround view won't load, my blind spot cameras aren't working. So what I'm gonna do while she's going in there is I'm gonna do a logo reset. So if I go here, I'm gonna press and hold the Air logo for about 10 seconds or so. And then the infotainment system should reboot. So you can see the screen shutting off. And we'll let that reset. So hopefully that'll fix some of these camera issues we're having. Alright, here we are out in the Arizona desert. So we've gone almost 69 miles from North Las Vegas. We've got 48 miles to go. So we're going to get there around 10 or 11% state charge. That's perfect. So preconditioning should kick on here pretty quick. Really cool scenery out here. Just feels like you're on Mars or the moon or something. So far so good out here. Alright, so here we are in Kingman, Arizona. 9% arrival. We've been here, I don't know, maybe like 8 minutes or so. When we got here, there was an e-tron. There's a Polestar that's going to plug in. There's the Silverado in front of us. So, another busy station. Go figure. What was our efficiency on this last leg? Let's take a peek. Oops. So, 2.51. So, pretty close to the average it's been so far. We've been doing pretty high speeds, close to 90 miles an hour. So hopefully these people will get their cars charged quickly and get out of the way, and we can be on our way. We should only have one more stop. All right, so after about 15 minutes, we are plugged in finally. So we're only on a 150 kilowatt unit, but we haven't even seen over 200 kilowatts on 350s today anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's see what the car wants us to do. So we're going to Casa Grande. Let's see what the car wants us to do. Thinking 84%. We're not going to do that. So we're going to find somewhere in the Phoenix area to charge, I think. So we'll think about that while the car's charging. Oh, it's calling me an idiot yet again. Surprise. But so we'll find somewhere in the Phoenix area to charge, but at least we didn't have to wait too long, maybe like 15 minutes or so. So not the end of the world. All right, so we're still here in Kingman. It's been almost 45 minutes. We're up to 43 minutes now, so definitely the most painful charging session of the day. We're under 50 kilowatts to 80%, so I think we've got enough finally to make it to Glendale, which is 176 miles away. So we'll get there with roughly a 10% buffer. That should be good. Just giving myself a little bit of wiggle room because I've never actually driven out here before, but at least we got to use the bathroom and get a snack at Smith's, so we're gonna unplug and hit the road again for hopefully just one more charging stop. Arizona desert. We are about halfway, a little over halfway from Kingman, Arizona down to Glendale. So we've got 85 miles left, looking at a 5% state of charge arrival. Should be just perfect so we can maintain preconditioning. And I don't know, hopefully we'll get one good charging session in today, but at least the scenery is absolutely beautiful out here, really cool. So just one more charging stop. Alright, so here we are in Glendale, Arizona. Got a full charger, got a BMW i4 right next to us waiting to charge. And yeah. Probably not going to get a good charging session anyway, so who cares. So we got here at 10% state of charge. Just have to do a short charge to get down to Casa Grande to our hotel. Sick of waiting though. It's been a long day. Charging hasn't gone particularly well either, but we made it finally. Well, at least we're an hour-ish away. All right, so we are finally plugged in 30 minutes later, and oh look, we're still not getting 200 kilowatts. Okay, whatever, at least we're plugged in. There's a Polestar over here that's clearly charging up to 100%. That's great. And then there's this Bolt right here next to us. They've been plugged in for 102 minutes. So people make public charging just so freaking awesome, don't they? But at least we're finally plugged in. Luckily, we don't have to charge very long before we get to our destination, so we're gonna just charge as long as we need to so we can be done for the day. Alright, so here we are charging one last time. I know I said last time was the last one, but this way you don't have to do it in the morning. So finally here in Casa Grande, we arrived here like 7:50 or so just under 14 hours to get here from home. No, it's pretty close to about what the Lucid says, like 14 and a half-ish hours. If we hadn't have had to wait for chargers 3 out of the 5 times, we probably would have been here a solid hour earlier. So, yeah, what can you do? Alright, so you joined me the following morning in my Lucid. So we left Salt Lake City about 6 a.m. and we arrived here at the hotel at about 8 p.m. So roughly 14 hours. So that tracks pretty closely to what the car was estimating, and also like a better route planner was also estimating roughly the same arrival. So I think that's pretty interesting because we did have quite a few charging issues and we spent close to an hour just sitting there waiting to charge. So if charging hadn't been as much of an issue, if we hadn't had to wait, if we had gotten better speeds, I think we probably could have gotten here even quicker. So let's look at some of the stats really quick. So trip A was our trip down, so 762.4 miles, 283 kilowatt hours used, and an average of 2.69 miles per kilowatt hour. So nothing mind-blowing, but not too horrible based on, you know, some of the weather we had at the beginning, temperatures early on. So not the worst road trip ever, but certainly could have been a lot better. As far as charging, this is actually one of the more difficult road trips I've had in this car. I don't really know why we never even saw charging speeds over 180 kilowatts. My previous road trip I was having issues like seeing over 200, so this one was even worse in that regard. And also it was, you know, a busy travel day, so we ended up having to wait close to an hour just to even get to some of these chargers because it was so busy. Other than that, other issues we had, so we lost some camera functionality, our blind spot cameras. We lost, I think, kind of in the North Las Vegas area, and that stuff didn't come back until we got here at the hotel and let the car sit and go to sleep for like a half hour to an hour. So a few little issues still going on with this car, a few software things, and I still continue to see charging issues with this car. But other than that, I love road tripping it. It's super comfortable, super quiet. Other than that, I really love it. So stay tuned for part 2, where tomorrow we're gonna drive our way back up to Salt Lake City from Casa Grande, Arizona. So this time, I think I'm gonna go up through Flagstaff and through the southern part of Utah instead of cutting out through Vegas. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we'll have some better charging.
What colour is this going to be? Oh, it's a green one. The definitive colour for the product. Please, yes, go ahead. Congratulations. Please remove the cover. Suit you, sir. It's just taken 4 years of our life, I think. 8 years of our lives, he tells me, yes. I think it has, actually. Anyway, it's all worth it today on this occasion. Congratulations, Eric. Enjoy. There's more. There's more. Family are the perfect climatic specimens to really test the full three-row capability of this vehicle. So I'm going to enjoy seeing you sitting comfortably in all three rows to demonstrate this space concept.
So here they are, the first 9 gravities. Good morning and welcome to Casa Grande, Arizona. Recently you joined me for a trip down from Salt Lake City, Utah to Casa Grande, Arizona for a cool Lucid Owners event. So now it's time to head back home in my properly filthy Lucid Air Touring. So last time, coming down from Salt Lake City, we went down I-15 through Vegas, cut across through the west part of Arizona down into the Phoenix area. This time we're going to go straight up through Flagstaff and up through the southern part of Utah. So it'll be a little bit different this time. So let's get into the car and take a peek at the road. Alright, so I've got our first leg of the trip plugged into the Lucid. So it thinks we're not going to make it. Possibly. So it's saying insufficient range. So it's just under 200 miles, 196. It is up to 7,000 feet of elevation in Flagstaff. So maybe that's why it's being a little hesitant, but we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. There is charging in the north side of Phoenix if we need to pull off and charge. So I still think I want to give this route a shot. So let's jump into it. So we're cruising along I-17 north. We've gone 98.5 miles and we've got 96.5 miles left until we get to Flagstaff. So now we're looking at an 8% arrival at the moment. So I've kept speeds between about 70 to 80 miles per hour. So should be able to feather it in just fine. So we're gonna keep on cruising. Maybe we'll pick up speeds if when we get closer we'll get there closer to like 5% or so, but just gonna keep cruising along close to the speed limit. Alright, so here we are in Flagstaff. App says these two chargers are offline. The screens do not reflect that. There's a ID4 and an EV9 over here charging already, so we're stuck until we can find a spot yet again. It's really annoying when the app says these are available. So it says for this one, both handles are available on this one. The app is correct, but the chargers themselves are not. And I did confirm with each of these three that plugging in does not work. So another fantastic charging experience here at Electrify America. Hopefully these guys won't be here too long, and then we can get back on the road, and this should hopefully be the only headache charging stop we have today. All right, so about 20 minutes later we're charging, so not the end of the world. So we are on a 150, so this is going to be the highest speed we see. So it looks like we need to go up to 72% to get to Canab at 0%. So we'll probably go up to 80, just give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. So should be about like 45-minute charge. So we'll just have to hang out, get some food at Walmart. Yeah, so hopefully this will be the worst charging stop of the day. All right, so we've been charging for 43 minutes now, almost up. We just need to get up to 82 or 83% to give us a roughly 10% arrival. That should be good to work with. Forgot to check the efficiency on the last leg. So we got 2.55 miles per kilowatt hour. We did go up almost 6,000 feet, so that's actually not too bad. So hopefully we'll get some better efficiency going down into Canab, which is the southern part of Utah. So hopefully this next leg will be good. All right, so over 50 minutes later, we finally got up to 85%. So we're looking at a 11% arrival, another 200 miles to go. So hopefully after this, things will be smooth sailing. Okay, we are slowly but surely approaching the Utah-Arizona border. So we've traveled 99 miles. We've got 101 miles left to go. And looks like we're targeting a 9% arrival. So we're just gonna keep on cruising. May have to drop speeds sometime soon, but still just plugging along. All right, here we are in Canab, Utah. just east of St. George. So they've got two 125 kilowatt charge point units here. There's another 50 kilowatt over there, and then there's a bunch of level 2s. So lots of charging here, so it's pretty cool. It's a good place to have charging, where people want to go like out to Lake Pell or out to Zion or St. George or whatever. So pretty cool. So we're only going to get like 120 something kilowatts, but we shouldn't need to juice up too much. We just need to get enough to get back over to I-15. So we'll probably only be here like 20 minutes or so. All right, so we got here at 4% state of charge. So we're charging at 100 kilowatts. So finally seeing charging limited by station, but not a big deal. We shouldn't need to charge here too long. So our stats for that last leg, wow, we got 3 miles per kilowatt hour. And so we lost a bit of elevation coming out of Flagstaff. So, and speeds weren't quite as high. I was doing like 80-ish miles an hour instead of 90. So better efficiency, and our average isn't too bad. So just need one more stop to get back on the I-15, then it should be 2 hopefully quick stops to get back home to Salt Lake City. All right, so we just unplugged, charged for a little over 50 minutes, got up to 82% state of charge. So next stop is Beaver, Utah. So 25% arrival, so we've got plenty of energy to burn to get there. So Beaver will be the second to last charging stop before we make it home up to Salt Lake City. So just plugged in the lovely Beaver, Utah. Arrived at 30% state of charge. Looks like we're charging around 140 kilowatts. So we're just basically making a quick pit stop here to get to Scipio. We don't need more than like 50%. So Scipio is just up the road a little bit. Let's pull that up on the map. All right, so I've got Scipio pulled up. So car thinks you only need 47% to get there at 8. That sounds perfect to me, so we're just going to be charging for like 6 or 7 minutes, so just a quick splash and dash here. Alright, so we just did a quick 8-minute session, already up to 50%, so we're back on the road. Next stop, Scipio, last charging stop of the day. right, so wouldn't you know it, for the last charging stop of the day, we've got a full station. Station 2, the screens say it's available, but for the app, it's not. I tried both handles, can't get either to authenticate and start charging. So looks like we're gonna be waiting yet again because EA can't keep their stations up and running, but at least there's a 90 buzz here, so that's pretty cool. All right, so 15 minutes later, we are plugged in. We've been preconditioning for at least 40 minutes, and yet again, it looks like we're not even gonna see over 180 kilowatts, and we arrived here with 11%, 12% state of charge. So I guess the weird charging stuff continues. Let's look at the stats for this leg of the trip. Oh, well, that ain't gonna be right. I guess that I did try and plug into charger 2, which screen says it's available, app says it's not. It is actually not. I just tried anyway. So I don't know what our efficiency was, but I think it was, for these last couple ones, it's been in like the mid to low 2 miles per kilowatt hour. So looks pretty consistent with what we've been seeing. And oh, again, the car is telling me I'm an idiot for this charging session not working properly, so that's just great. But shouldn't have to charge here too long. We just need enough to get home, which is another like 110, 120 miles, and we can get home dead as we want to. So hooray for the last charging spot of the day. Isn't EV road tripping just freaking awesome? All right, so after a 25-minute charge, we are up to 61%. And we are targeting a 5% arrival home. So that's more than enough. So we're just gonna cruise on home and finally be done with this road trip, which has not been the worst, but certainly not been the best either. So if this day wasn't going well enough, now I'm in highway assist jail apparently, so I can't even activate adaptive cruise, and I don't really know why. This happened to me on the way down to Arizona as well. Really don't know what's going on, but luckily we've only got an hour remaining till we're home, so I'll just have to drive manually. But yeah, just still some weird glitches and things that happen with these cars, unfortunately. So we are officially home. So we rolled in at 6:45 p.m. so almost 10 minutes ago. So that was about 13 hours, almost exactly from when we left Arizona. So we got here about an hour faster than we did going down to Arizona, which was nice. So let's look at stats again. And of course, it reset. I looked at it and it was 2.87 miles per kilowatt hour, something like that, since we left Scipio. So over the past like 110 miles or so. So actually pretty good. We were going close to 90 that whole time. So yeah, and so there's the final stats for that trip home. So 695.6 miles, 254 kilowatt hours, 2.74 miles per kilowatt hour. So a little more efficient on the way back than we were going down. I think that was mostly due to the weather and maybe the distance had a little bit something to do with it, because this is roughly 60 miles less than the trip down the way we came back. So yeah, there's the stats, and then let's wrap up with my final thoughts. All right, and so that was the trip. So I hope you found it at least a little bit interesting and entertaining. I know I was clearly getting frustrated at times due to having to wait in line to charge and having less than ideal charging performance, but I really do love road tripping my Lucid Air. It's got way more space for people and luggage than I'll ever need. It's an absolute joy to drive, and really that's what makes the road tripping worth it. So again, it is important to remember that there is potentially a battery and or charging issue with my car that'll hopefully be resolved soon. So I'm really anxious to see how that turns out. So this isn't really representative of what a normal Lucid road trip would look like. So I think that's important to mind, but I still think it's worth kind of sharing. And so just to wrap things up, you can see I've got some data pulled up here. So this first tab is for the trip down from Salt Lake City down to Casa Grande, Arizona. So you see I documented things like departure and arrival, states of charge, distance traveled, travel time, efficiency, those kinds of things. So you can kind of get a little bit of better idea of what each of our charging stops looked like and how our efficiency was doing across the trip. And so for the trip down, you can see total distance traveled was 762 miles, and our efficiency was 2.69 miles per kilowatt hour. So we did have some rain in the beginning, temperatures were cold in the beginning, and we were going usually 80 miles an hour or more. So definitely not ideal conditions for getting ideal efficiency. And so if we look at the trip back from Casa Grande up to Salt Lake City, you can see it was roughly like between 60 and 70 miles shorter going this way. And our efficiency was a little bit better, probably because we didn't have that rain and wind in the morning coming up. And I think temperatures were a little bit higher as well. So I do apologize for missing some of the data here. Apparently I wasn't doing as good a job as I thought I was, but you can at least get an idea of what the total trip steps looked like and get a basic idea of what each of our charging stops looked like. And so even this might not be the most definitive Lucid road trip you'll see because of the potential battery and or charging issues I was having. I hope it still is clear that it is really a phenomenal road tripping electric vehicle. And yeah, it doesn't have the fastest charging, doesn't have the highest range, at least in my particular configuration of the Lucid Air. It's still really a joy to drive, and I can't speak highly enough about how comfortable, how quiet it is, just how much of a joy it is to drive. There are certainly some things that could be improved. So again, charging speed could help shorten these stops a little bit. And as you could see through the video, we were having some issues with like highway assist and some of our cameras giving out at certain points. So still some work to be done with the ADAS systems, but still does really well on, just straight roads. Kind of takes away the monotony of that pretty well. And so I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it interesting and enjoyable. and hopefully I'll get to see you guys on another video someday. So thank you again, and take care. Bye-bye.